Imagine you're a young woman who joins the army to escape your life in a small town, only to end up in a place where you have to keep a bunch of Muslim men who hate you because you are American, woman, and infidels. She is a tough but compassionate guardian who tries to do her job well, but can't help falling in love with a smart, funny, and charming prisoner. The opening scene is dark and grim. A man comes home to a world in chaos where the television screams of terror and tragedy. He pays no attention to the world's suffering and heads to a table where he places his keys and phone. He then goes into a room where he kneels and prays. But his prayers are interrupted by a dark figure who seizes him and drags him into a hellish camp. 8 years later, we witness a parade of soldiers passing by the cages of the damned who throw insults and curses at them. They are led into our rooms where they receive their orders and a glimpse of their new reality from their boss, Ransdell, looking for volunteers to tame a wild beast. A fresh-faced recruit. She steps forward. She's instructed to hold the beast's arm, but it strikes her with its fury. She steps back and the others restrain it. It rises. She yanks and gets him out of his hideout, where he spits on Cole. She retaliates by kicking him before he is tied to a chair and thrown into his well in the bath. The incident becomes the topic of conversation. Ransdell tries to charm Cole, but she pushes him away. She then video calls her mother that night. The next day, her job is to deliver books to the locked up monsters. They hope to find a glimmer of humanity in their eyes, but all she sees is hatred and contempt. One of them growls at her, making her shiver. Ransdell steps in, his voice like a blade, and tells him to back off. The monster says it'll take a book, but only from Ransdell's hand. Ransdell shrugs and says women aren't welcome in their world. Cole pushes the cart to the next cage, number 105. The monster inside rambles on about Harry Potter and his adventures. He says he's been waiting for the last book for 2 years. Cole scoffs and tells him to stop complaining and choose from what they've got. He asks for the Azkaban book, and Cole wonders if it's some kind of rebel manifesto. He laughs and says it's part of Harry Potter's story. She loses patience and tells him to hurry up. He picks a book and she moves on to something else. She goes swimming later, trying to clear her mind. She looks up at the sky where the clouds are soft and dark. She would like to be able to feel the same thing. The following day, she has to check the monsters again. She ignores their jeers and curses, except for cage 105. He calls her Princess and tries to make conversation. He says his name is Ali and asks her to take care of herself. Her name? She no longer responds? She just tells him to shut up. She says he reminds her of a movie villain who talked too much. He says he doesn't know the movie, and she gets angry, saying it was probably banned where he came from. He asks if she means Germany, and she is disturbed. Another says something in a foreign language, and they all wrap their holy books in white cloths. Ali asks for water and promises to keep quiet. She opens the slit of its cage and gives it a bottle. It throws something on her face, something brown and stinky. She screams, and other soldiers come to help her. She has the opportunity to relax today. She joins the others on a yacht and fishes for pleasure. She hopes to forget the horrors of her work, but all she feels is hell. It's guilt and disgust. Ransdell is flirting, his voice like honey, telling her to let loose. She drinks too much, too quickly, and starts to feel dizzy. She goes to the bathroom and finds dirty magazines. Ransdell follows her and she kills him. They're teasing, they kiss, and touches herself, but she feels nothing. She tells him to stop, but he doesn't listen. She pushes him away and runs out. Meanwhile, Ali is tortured in various ways. He is moved from cell to cell every 2 hours as a punishment. He doesn't know what day it is or what time it is. Cole sees his cell being searched. She picks up a cup and sees a beautiful drawing of Ali. The other soldier takes it and throws it into a bag as proof. She leaves and sees Ali, weak and bruised, dragged by 2 guards. She sneaks into the office and finds Ali's file. She opens it and sees pictures of him, unconscious and bloodied. The last picture shows someone holding his face like a puppet. She feels sick and angry. She looks at his record and sees that he has many infractions. She sees a code name, Alfred Hitchcock, on the block and asks another soldier what it means. He says that this means a psychiatrist visits the prisoners. She thanks him and leaves while he goes back to playing cards on his computer. She has a question today. Ask someone about Harry Potter. She hopes to find a friend who shares her interest, but all she gets is a smirk and a scoff. He asks her why she cares, and she quickly changes the subject. On the rounds, Cole glances at Ali and sees him playing with numbers. He notices his gaze and stands up, holding a bit. He asks her if she knows Sudoku and says he's finished all the books they had. He says he has to make his own puzzles, using his brain and his style. He begins to talk about Sudoku and how he went to university. He tries to give her the paper, but she refuses, saying it's against the rules. Ali then loses his temper and starts ranting about the rules. He said that the paper is a secret message and she's right to be scared. He throws it in the toilet and flushes. She tells him that the Harry Potter book he wanted is not in the library, despite what another guard told him. He apologizes for being annoying and says he hates not knowing how things will end. The prisoners pray in their hall while the soldiers salute their flag. 8 months later, she has a challenge today to feed the starving prisoners. She hopes to save them from their own stubbornness. All she encounters is silence and defiance. None of them accept her offer. One of them is brought out of his cell and tied up like a sacrificial lamb. A needle pierces his skin and pumps him with liquid food. A high-ranking officer asks the other soldiers if they know why the prisoners refuse to eat. Cole says she heard they wanted an elliptical. The officer enters the block and talks to the prisoner, granting his request. Cole watches Ali while he juggles in a cage. She asks him if he will ever use the elliptical, and he says no, like the others. She asked why, and he said she should ask Mahmoud, the one who has her. He says he only managed to juggle 12 times that day, and another prisoner from another block claims to have done 40, but he doesn't believe it. He says that only the guards can see the other block. He thinks the other prisoner is lying. Cole tells him if he beats the record of 40 juggling, she will testify for him. He tries again, but only does 8, and jokes saying that's 48. She said that obedient prisoners can play football on a field with other prisoners, and he can join them if they cooperate more. He says he knows it, but he will not do it because that would mean he's giving in to their abuse, and says she probably thinks he's stupid, but Cole says he's not. Joking, he's smart enough to go to college. They laugh together before Mahmoud passes by them and yells at Ali. Paul is called by Ransdell, and he asks her what she was talking about. She says it's nothing. Ransdell says that in this case, he shouldn't talk about. Ali calls Cole and says he's done 20 juggles, making her smile. Ransdell tells him he needs his help to monitor the showers because these other men are busy. Ransdell told Ali to undress and take a shower. Ali hesitates with Kola, but Ransdell threatens to send a team to force him. Ali obeys, and Ransdell makes sure Cole watches those who violate their faith and dignity. She has a shock today, finding out that Ransdell lied to her. She hopes to get justice for what he did, but all she faces is betrayal and suffocation. None of the other soldiers support her, and she writes a report against Ransdell. Summoned to the superior's office, he takes Ransdell's side and rejects his report. He says she's too friendly with Ali and it's compromising the mission. He says there'll soon be a hearing and dismisses her. She goes into the dining room and sits with Cruz. Cruz asks her if the food was good, then tells her someone tried to commit suicide the other night. Cole is confused because the prisoners are watched like hawks by the soldiers. Cruz says it wasn't a prisoner who tried, but a guard who survived by chance. Cole starts to say that she's feeling guilty, but Cruz cuts her off, saying that she's being fooled by the prisoners. He leaves, and Ransdell passes by her and mocks her. She continues her guard work, but starts to see the prisoners as human beings. She becomes more solitary among the soldiers too. She has a change today, working the night shift. She hopes to avoid the trouble she's caused, but all she finds is more loneliness and regret. None of the other soldiers care about her, and she cleans a cell alone. She hears she's being transferred to the night shift. Meanwhile, Ali looks at the clock outside his cell and feels a twinge of disappointment. He asks if the clock is right, and the soldier says yes. He asks where Cole is, but he gets no answer. During the night shift, Cole walks past Ali's cell during rounds and sees that he's sleeping. But Ali hears his footsteps and wakes up. He calls him by his name and gets up. Paul tells her to go back to sleep, but he says he never sleeps well anyway. He wants to ask her why she is there, but he knows she cannot say it. Cole says she reported someone. Ali doesn't know what denouncing means and thinks it's something from Harry Potter. She explains that it means to denounce someone. He understands that she denounced Ransdell even if she doesn't say his name. Ali asks her why she is here in the first place. She turns the question on him and he swears he's not a terrorist. They talk about their home and Ali says he is from Germany. Cole says she comes from a small town. Another soldier comes and gives Cole a coffee, saying she won't be on night shift for long. Ali asks her what day it is and she says it's July 14th. He realizes she'll leave next month as guards change every August. He asks her if she'll come back and she says she won't. That's not the case. Cole says she learned a lot from her time here and that the new guards will learn too. Ali asks her what she learned and reminds her they are enemies. He takes out his Quran and pulls out a blade that was hidden inside. He kneels on the ground and sticks the path holding the knife. He presses it against her throat and tells her that if she calls for help, he'll cut his finger. She tries to calm him down, but he says he's tired of being locked up here and he's not really living anyway. Cole tells her his name is Amy and that she's from Moorhaven, Florida. She asks him if there's a zoo in Bremen, which surprises him. Cole says she used to go to the zoo when she was a kid because she wanted to see something different from her town. She felt sad to see the animals locked in small cages at the Iris and says he knows what she's trying to say, that zookeepers have no choice but to keep the animals there. But she disagrees. She says she thinks animals deserve to be free. Cole makes a few more rounds around the block before checking on Ali again. She sees that he's still alive, still holding the knife to his throat, but this time he's crying. He drops the knife and gives it to her. Cole holds her hand as they both cry. She says her goodbyes today. She's leaving the place that changed her life. She hopes to find a little peace and comfort, but all she feels is sadness and emptiness. Ali is lying on his bed. He is thinking about her. He hears knocking at his door and gets up. He sees a new soldier holding a book cart. Ali mocks him, but then his eyes widened. He sees something on the cart that makes his heart beat. He asks the soldiers to give it to him and he takes it in his hands. It's the last Harry Potter book, the one he's been waiting for. He's got it. He opens and sees a call note. I'm sorry I couldn't say goodbye to you. I hope you will like the book. Take care of yourself, Ali. The movie ends as Cole leaves the hospital. The camp, while Ali sits on his bed and begins to read the book, which is a gift from her. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you've learned something new. If so, don't hesitate to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more movie summaries. And don't forget to leave a comment below and tell me what you think of the movie. Thanks for watching and see you soon. Bye.